We're in the centre of the caves now. There's a smell of bat guano around us. It's what we're standing in, and above us are the bats. We can see them and hear them. Firstly, what type of bats are these?
This is the southern bentwing bat, Tim. Restricted, this particular subspecies is only found in Western Victoria and southeast and South Australia, in the part of the world that we are now.
Bentwing, is that a particular feature of the bat?
Yeah, they're called bentwing bat because they're quite a long winged species, and when they're at rest, the last joint is actually folded in and upwards. So that's where the name actual bentwing bat comes from.
Is that common for bats? It certainly doesn't happen in birds.
As you say, it's really that's where the name comes from. Most bats actually have pretty the standard setup, a bit like the bird, with just the wing folded down and below.
So it's pretty difficult to see them at the moment, apart from just a few blurs as they fly past. Describe them. Firstly, how big are they?
They're one of the bigger, what they call insectivorous bats, so the micro bats, or microchiropterans they're called. They're the insectivorous bats. There's about 15 species, I think, in the southeast. This is one of the biggest species. It's sort of got a wingspan up to about 30 centimetres, I understand, when fully extended.
Now, I've just been told that the guano around us, which is happening in piles, is a sign that this is a maternity cave. So is this where the bats breed?
My understanding is actually that in the southeast, all the bats breed at the maternity cave in Narracourt. There used to be some records from the 1960s indicate that there was up to 5 maternity caves at that time. But now for this southern subspecies, we only know of 2 currently occupied sites for breeding, and that is the Bat Cave at Narracourt Caves and Starlight Caves near Warrnambool, which is a coastal cave.
How do they breed? Must be pretty difficult to find each other.
Well, actually, like a lot of insectivorous bats, they have quite a fascinating breeding strategy. While the females are torpid, the males in winter, the males kind of sneak up with them and on them and do their business.
That sounds a bit unfair. Torpor, is that like hibernation?
Yeah, it's kind of where the bats, they lower their body temperature. They basically, so their metabolisms are slowed down. They're not using as much energy or fat reserves. The interesting thing about it then is that the sperm is stored in this sort of uterine and area of their female bats, and that sperm, the ovulation actually doesn't occur until September when feeding starts again. So it's quite an interesting breeding strategy that they have.
So we're today taking part in the survey where you're counting the number of bats. That's obviously one way to help keep their populations up, is firstly to know how many you've got, but what conservation is going on to keep the bats in the southeast?
Well, some of the work that's happening includes some protection of key wintering sites such as this. There's certainly been some work happening around the region on that, just fencing, clearing out entrances, that sort of thing. Revegetation, obviously the bats, the work that we've done shows that the bats tend to forage around areas of native veg. So particularly around the maternity cave, we're trying to put more vegetation in the ground to create sort of flight paths for them. Wetland restoration is another way that we can help. These bats are also been, in some of the radio tracking work we've done, shown to forage around wetlands. So we all know what the drought's done for wetlands. Restoring wetlands is one thing that we can do.
Well, it seems like we've disturbed them a bit, so I guess we should leave them and the boys to their